Well, I'm going to start as everyone's expecting me to start, 3 days for the transfer window. How's Wellington?
Well, he's not great. He'll be out for probably a couple of months. His ankle's not great, so we'll have to miss him for a bit. Willis still out, Breezy's still out, and Armour is a question mark. Not sure about if he'll make Saturday or not. But other than that, everyone's good and ready to go.
How much of a problem does that give you looking ahead past the window on the left-hand side? Would you consider needing to get somebody in, like on a loan or something, to cover the Wellington injury, or no?
No, we've got Chaz, who's still here. If there's an opportunity to do something, then I'm sure we will. But that counts for sort of every position on the pitch. But no, I think we're not panicking. It's annoying because he's done okay and he's a good player. But our squad is good enough and big enough to sort itself out.
This is the last press conference before the window shuts. Things are moving. We know about Fernandez since yesterday. Whilst I appreciate things aren't necessarily signed, sealed and delivered, you did talk about him last week as being a good player. Can you expand on that this week with a bit more confidence that actually what he'll bring to the party?
I think his stats speak for himself. I think he's a proven and goal scorer and assist giver in the Championship. He's scored and has been important in pretty much every league and every team that he's played at. He's always available between lines, gets in the box, he anticipates things earlier than most people, and he's often in a space where you can play him, where he can turn and look forward. And he can be very important to a lot of teams, so hopefully we can get that sorted.
Given that he might sign and that another winger forward might sign who might or not be Tom Fellows, I'm really interested in whether that alters your thinking on why you've been pragmatic with your formation, having spent a lot of pre-season as a 4-2-3-1, and whether those signings would actually help you free up that formation more or use it more as you might want to.
Hopefully, but it's just like you said, it's just a question of being pragmatic. We just need to win games. We obviously would rather win games like we played the second half and a bit more in control like the other day. But to get there, we need to sort of build ourselves up to it and make life easier for ourselves instead of shooting ourselves in our own foot the whole time. But yeah, that is the option that is available to us if that happens.
As disappointed as fans will be, and you would be, and I would be, that Matheus Fernandez seems to be on his way to West Ham, it always seems like it was ever thus. A player that good, when you get relegated, you were always likely to lose him. How do you feel about that going on?
I think it's mixed because Matty's obviously a fantastic football player and a good human, but Matty wants to leave and wanted to leave, and it then becomes in the modern day incredibly difficult to keep people that don't want to be at the football club, and I think the best thing for everyone is that he moves on and that he does what he needs to do, and we focus on people that want to be here, that want to build something this season and move on to the next step for the football club. Matty's been unbelievable for the time that he's been here. He's one of those others that has been put under pressure from national teams as well, and he wants to go to the World Cup next year. He wants to be a part of the Portuguese team, which I get. And if West Ham get him, then West Ham have got an incredibly good football player, and it also allows us in another space to bring in extra quality and people that eventually want to be here. So I think it's mixed feelings. I understand the frustration, but ultimately when players don't want to be here and want to move on, then you get into a situation that's just sort of tricky for everyone.
I guess ultimately, I'll try and say this to people, it doesn't matter who you sell as long as you buy the right ones to do the job when you've got them in. So the target is that on September the 1st you have a squad that's good enough to compete at the top of the Championship or near it. How much more confident are you now that you'll be getting closer to what you envisage and want for this squad to compete?
Based on the last 12 to 24 hours, pretty confident. I think things are starting to move. I think there were people coming in and out of this building, which is obviously important and interesting for us moving forward. It's then frustrating that the international break comes and sort of breaks everything up, and everyone goes away for a bit, because you want to work with these people, you want to welcome them in the right way. But no, I think Johannes said it. It's an art to build a window and do a transfer window properly. So yeah, hopefully we get it right by the end of it.
You have had experience, of course, managing in France, and you seem to take everything very much in your stride and just deal with what's in front of you, which is, I think, a credit to you. How harder has it been than people might imagine, trying to sew everything together in the last 3 months whilst there's so much flux? What's it actually been like, the toll on you to actually deal with not having the same players one week as the next week, having to deal with players who don't want to play, having to deal with players that want to leave? I mean, how hard has that, or wearing has that been, or do you just let it bounce off you? I
think the hardest thing has been moving house yesterday and today without me being there, so my wife's not very pleased. But no, it's just, it is what it is. Last January we lost 6 players, and only replaced them with 1 or 2 players. So it's just part of football. You've got to accept whatever upstairs decides on, and they paint you a picture, and you've just got to try and make the outlines of it look pretty and look good, and ultimately win games of football. I think they will make sure that our squad is competitive. Is it the ideal situation? No, not at all, because you always have in the back of your mind, well, that he doesn't want to be here, that he's probably moving on, that this could change and that can change. So you're kind of constantly painting a picture with the colour that changes underneath you. But we've started okay. We've played 5 games, won 3, drawn 1 and lost 1. We're going to Anfield, which is pretty cool. And now we need to sort of kick on in the league and kick-start that with the players that are available and make that picture look a bit nicer.
Is there a urgency in your mind to try and get some of these signings over the line so you've got more choice for Saturday, or would you not be worrying about the Watford trip with regard to new signings coming through the door?
Well, that might be tricky. I think if it does, then great, and if we've got an extra player or 2, then brilliant. But we all know how complex and tricky a market is, so we'll just have to wait and see. I think if there are people here tomorrow, then great, and we can probably use them on Saturday. If not, like I said, the squad is fit, is healthy, and everyone's going in the right direction. So I think we should be all right.
What do you make of Watford? They always seem to be an ever-changing beast with the manager changes. Tom Cleverley, of course, went in May, and Pozzolano's come in now, and the players, an array of talent from different parts of the world. So is it hard to get a handle on what you expect from Watford or not, with a new manager and lots of players in?
I think you can identify what they do in terms of sort of footballing bits, and they're a good team. They're a really good team. They've changed system. They've adapted to a few things, but like us, they've pretty much got the same results, and they'll be looking to pick up 3 points. Going forward, they've got a lot of speed and a lot of threat sort of in behind, so we're going to have to be alert and ready to defend that. And then in midfield, they've got power, experience, and sort of know how to manage games. So it'll be, it's a championship, isn't it? I don't think you get an easy game. And they'll be looking to kick on, so will we. So it'll be interesting.
Just one final question on a player you've signed we haven't really spoken about. It's Mads Roeslav, who I thought brought a calmness to his position on the pitch on Tuesday night. How's he settled in? Because he seems like an astute acquisition.
I think he's settled in the way he performed on Tuesday. I think he's very calm. I think he's got that know-how and experience of the Championship and the Premier League. But when you look at his physical data after the game, it's like very, very impressive. So fair play to him for sort of hitting the ground running. I think he was fit when he came through the door, and I think it was quite obvious as to what he will bring us. He has that energy. He has that quality of ball into the box. But his defensive sort of attributes and body position and reading and understanding of what's going on are really interesting. You can see he's been working on set pieces quite a lot with Thomas Frank, because Woody goes off the pitch and you're defending 2 corners with 10 men, and the first one to step up and sort of sort things out is Mad. So no, really impressed with him so far, and yeah, we just hope we can keep helping him along the way, and we've got ourselves a very good player. Cheers.
Sorry, just one on that if I can. I mean, you've already spoken well on it, but from your side, I suppose, is there any element of disappointment about the deal, how the deal's happened, or do you accept that's football, and can it be a positive for you that you get a couple of players in instead?
I think we've got to try and turn it into a positive. I think Matty pretty early on sort of came in and said, Gaffer, I respect you, I respect everything you've done, and it'd be interesting to work with you, but I think I need to be playing in the top 5 leagues, and I need to stay in the Prem, and I want to go to the World Cup, etc. So, from sort of when he was back from his holidays and his international stuff, he made it pretty obvious, which I'm totally fine with. He then, got told that if he were to leave, then the price has to be met, and everyone has to, come out of it in the right situation. And I think, that will be the case eventually when it all does happen. It's just life, I think Matty wanted to move on, and I'd rather work. I'm not talking badly about him, but I'd rather work with people that actually want to be here and want to make a difference here. And I understand that he wants to do that somewhere else, which is cool. We move on.
3 players scored their first goals of the season on midweek. Cameron Archer particularly sort of spoke to us about hoping that that'll push him into the first 11. Ryan Fraser probably deserves that goal as well. Have you seen a lift from those lads, a bit more confidence maybe?
Yeah, I mean, goals obviously help, but I think he's been really important in every position that we've played him so far, and he gets it, he understands it, but his energy levels have been really high, which is what we wanted. And Cam started pre-season off pretty well, and then started falling into things that we didn't want him to do. He realised that, we realised it. We had a very blunt and honest conversation, which you sometimes need to have, and told him to stop doing that and just to be Cameron Archer, because the Cameron Archer that we saw on Tuesday was the one that we want. Running in behind, being a threat, giving us options on transitions, and just freeing himself off from all the noise and stuff and things that aren't that important, and just getting into the areas that will allow him to score goals. And I think he did that. We can still push him and work on it. And I said to him, we've scored 4 goals and none of those have come from a striker. I mean, Jay got one, but he's not a striker. So read the room. If you want to be important, go and do what you need to do. And I think that's just the same with everyone. Whoever wants to be in the team knows what they've got to do, and he's gone and done that. So he'll obviously be on the bench on Saturday.
I asked you about those sort of strike options last weekend, and I'm not expecting you to give us that ranking, but is it clear in your head of you've got 4 number 9s? Who is your first choice, second, or is it still quite fluid?
Whoever's scoring goals, whoever scores goals, whoever's pressing and working hard for us, and whoever scores will be on the pitch.
Just one last one, if I can. There was a bit of talk about Will Smallberg maybe getting an offer from Wrexham or another team in the Championship. Obviously, we know he's been out injured, but what's your take on that? Is he somebody that could leave before Monday?
It's possible. I think we've had conversations with Will as well, and he's sort of trying to decide what he wants and what his career needs. I'm not saying it will happen. I'm saying it's a possibility. I think time will tell with that one. I think Will's in a he's missed quite a bit of pre-season, which is frustrating for him. He's now sort of getting back out on the pitch and sorting himself out. But I think it's more up to him and down to what he wants. But it is possible.
Well, just jumping from one midfielder to another, Kasper Yander is a player supposedly coming into the club. What can you tell us about him? Because I don't think fans know too much about him in Germany.
But he's a young player with a lot of energy. That his physical data is very, very impressive. Good on the ball for his age, very calm. Reads the game in a positive way. He wants to get forward. His body position when he receives, to be on the half turn, take it back foot and take people on is impressive. But but Johannes knows him probably better than I do because he's been following him for a few years. So again, he's a good player, and if it happens, it happens.
Yeah, people in Germany seem a bit surprised that perhaps he's coming to England into the second tier because they rate him really highly. If it does come off, it looks like a major coup.
If it does, then yeah, and I think if Matty's gone, we need quality in that position, and if he can give that to us, then we'll all be happy.
You mentioned the international break. How much more difficult is that going to be if you do bring all these players in, and then some of them may even go away with their country, some of their teammates will go away with their country? You're going to have a reduced group of players, aren't you?
Yeah, I think every international. I hate international breaks, to be honest with you, waste of time. But again, it is what it is. It's like a transfer window, and people want to leave, and all the noise that it creates. We know that sort of first block of 8 days after our game at Watford is you're just sort of maintaining physical conditions because you can't do much as a team because you've got sort of between 8 and 12 players here at the club. But you just got to get on with it, really. Use the time well to do individual stuff. Use the time well to work on the bits that you can do. And then once the people get back in the building, hopefully sooner rather than later in the second week, then you sort of got to kickstart it all again. Make sure that those if the new players are here, then that they're well aware of what we're doing and in what direction we're going. And ultimately spend as much time as we can together and doing things that will help these guys sort of fit in and go from there.
The game on the other side of the break, it's obviously the Pompey one, massive game. I think sometimes you hear of coaches that might use the international break to prepare for just one game, but is it far too early to be able to do that because you're still trying to get the players to do what you want them to do?
Well, the squad's changing the whole time as well, so I think once Monday happens, is it Monday the 1st? I think once Monday's out of the way, I think we'll have a clear picture of who we are, what the team looks like, where we want to go with it, and whatever happens, I think the derby is. You can talk about tactical stuff as long as you want, and 3-4-3, 3-5-2, or 4-2-3-1, or whatever it is. I think a derby is there to be won, and whatever it takes to win it will. If you need to stick your little toe on the line or your backside to defend the goal, or if you've got to throw yourself at anything, then that's what you got to do, and that's what we'll have to do. And I hope that the players understand that as well. We'll 100% put that message out there, because we obviously know how big and important that is to the town itself and to the people and the supporters. And the tactical element of it, yes, plays a part, but on the day itself, it's just about who's going to want it more, because two teams that will go up against each other in the same league, it will be competitive, and it's just about the little details and who's willing to sort of make those details lean into our favour or theirs. And I think we have to be there doing that.